Good morning, everyone.
This spring, we conducted the role play in our classroom. This is the engineering department classroom. We talked about the case, the study case, and it is actually talking about when we should replace the assets and the company. So where is the exact time we need to replace the item, either now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, or we can keep it until the declining stage or the ending of the lifetime of the assets until that time, and then we can purchase the new items. So that's what we are talking about when it comes to engineering department. So it is pretty much about calculations. However, we are trying to bring the concept of learning from emphasizing heavily on the calculation stage, explaining about the formula, and then trying to have the exercises. So instead of having all of those old stuff, we are trying to transform the learning style into the new one, which is the role play. Okay? So this is what we are having in the last semester. Small classes, only 8 students, but we managed to make the role play. We divide the students into 2 different groups. Each of the groups consists of 4 students, and therefore, each of the students is playing their role in deciding where we should replace our item or our assets. So, why we need to role play in engineering economy? So, in engineering economy, we again transforming. We are transforming from the old file to the international methods from the new one, which was heavily on explaining about the formula, having exercises, and that's it. Okay, so we bridge the theoretical and real-world decision making because it is not only talking about the economical point of view. It is also talking about the environment, maybe investment, so many aspects that we need to consider when we are making a decision making. And we are encouraging the critical thinking. If you're having a little bit of debate, we are going to listen to the testimonials from the students here. Okay? And then what we are discussing is manufacturing firm as design. This is what we are taking, the manufacturing firm as design. Either we need to keep an old but paid off skill, or we need to replace it with a more efficient, but it is costly. In other words, if we keep maintaining our own existing kiln, so we are having the high cost of maintenance. However, we have another option. We are calling it as the challenger. We are calling it as the challenger, which is let's take a look a little bit closer. When it comes to the new one, it is actually having the first cost about $38 million, but it has the less maintenance operating cost. So which one that we are going to choose? Either keeping the old one, which has the high maintenance cost, or we need to purchase the new one. So that's the challenge. And we can have another data. Again, this is heavily on calculations, but it is not, when it comes to decision making, it is not only taking the calculation into account, but also taking the environmental impact or anything that is going to be discussed. Okay, and then so we have, as I said, we divide the students into 2 different groups. So each of them will be the financial analyst, and then the other one will be the operation manager. The other one will be the sustainability advocate. Then the last one will be talking about the project manager. So each of them will play a different role, will talk about the different points of view different perspectives. So they need to maintain their issue. For example, is it correct to purchase the new one in terms of the sustainability? Is it promoting the blue green movements or not? So they are raising those issues. And then the learning objectives is actually, when it comes to engineering economy, every engineering students will know about the present world and annual world analysis. And this is what we are bringing from the present world and annual world analysis to the real project, real decision-making process. And then we need to balance the financial and the environmental priorities. It is not solely on the economy point of view. It is also from the environment. And then we need to develop the communication and again the negotiation and also the decision-making process. So the decision-making skills is not dictated through the textbooks. So the decision-making should be trained, should be overly used and to be trained over and over again in order to sharpening our instinct in deciding something. And then the last one, we are trying to experience the realistic engineering trade-offs. Okay? And this is the activity that we have during 60 minutes. For example, we prepare for 15 minutes in reviewing the case. In fact, I gave a study case several days before the D-Day. So they knew about what we are going to talk about. They knew about what the discussion is all about. And then they knew about the data. So they can bring the data home and they can process the data because we don't give the time to calculate it on the D-Day. So I talked to them, to the student, you can have your weekend to discuss this with your friends, and then you can come up with the results on the day. And the road trip itself takes around 25 minutes. It is the approximation. And then the decision and reflection is taking around 10 until 15 minutes. And we need to know that at the end of the stage, we are reflecting on the key decision trade-offs. It means whatever we are deciding, it couldn't please everybody. Because let's say we decide something, let's say we buy a new machine, and in terms of the sustainability advocate point of view, it is not simple. But again, we can't please everybody. So it is working actually, and according to my opinion, this is working because we are bringing the concept of present world, annual world, and the future world, and also the new attractive rate of return into a bigger discussion. So in other words, we are bringing the textbook into the real world. It is the decision-making process, and then it is taking the stakeholders into account. At least we are having 4 points of view, but in reality it could be more than 4 points of view. And we are developing the soft skills such as the negotiation skills, persuasion, and also the team. And however, it is not perfect yet. So we face the challenges, and we actually try to solve this problem. So I hope that in your classrooms, next classroom will be much more perfect than mine. So the first one, it could be the uneven participation, because one person could be overtaking the session, and then they something like talkative, much more talkative than the others, and that could be the problem. And in this case, I think that we can create the collaboration activities. So we can create the collaboration activities, and then we are seeing that we offer emphasis on similar groups. Because, for example, so I I'm the project manager, so I control everything. So I need to be heard. My voice needs to be heard. So nobody could, could be the obstacle of my opinion. So that's the problem. So I propose a solution that we can require acknowledgement from others quite often. It means that we could listen actively. So in the decision-making process, we can be a good listener rather than talk a bit much more. The last one, full-time management. Again, this is our challenges so far. We set 15 minutes, 25 minutes, etc. in the first place, but we couldn't make it. We couldn't make it on time. So we could be use the key roles in the future. Okay. Moving on. So what students gain? So what the students can attain from this activity? So the first one, we could improve the technical decision making. So the decision making is not the just the AI word and then this is the decision. So it is not something like that in the manufacturing company, especially when it comes to the huge investments such as machineries, which cost you around millions of rupees. And second one, we can engage learning through the immersions. And the third one, the appreciations for the systems level of complexity. And the last one, the realistic preparation for data challenges. We equip the students with the decision-making process through decision making, let's say, classroom level. So we bring them with oversimplified, yes, we oversimplify, but it is a good starting point, a good starting point to learn about the decision making in the real world. Okay. Okay. So I also suggest the future directions for maybe for your classes who are going to adapt the role play. So the first one, we could use the role play for another discussion. Obviously, it is my point of view as the engineering lecturer because we are talking about the engineering economy quite often. So I'm going to talk about the life cycle costing, make or buy decisions. So it is going to be having a little bit debate in that discussion. That's okay. And then we will include the peer evaluations and reflections. So this is maybe another future direction. And the last one, we will track the skill growth semester of a semester. Okay? So this is the time for me to invite the students. I have Danish over here, one of the 8 students to share the testimonials.
Good morning, dear professors and my colleagues. My name is Danish. I am from Industrial Engineering from the 23 cohort. And I wanted to share a little bit of the testimonial of the engineering economics subject taught by my dear professor, Sir Filscha. So in this subject, I wanted to emphasize on a few things. Actually, I wanted to tell a story. Debt is something that's very much important in today's era because with debt, you can do a lot of things. There are also some consequences behind it, and you have to learn how to manage your debt. Me, from the age of 12 years old, I had to learn quite a lot of economics principles. I read books such as how Rich Dad Poor Dad. I believe lots of people have already learned that too. The Psychology of Money, and also The Millionaire's Fast Lane. And there's also a sense of urgency regarding why I wanted to learn about this. My family had to go into a huge debt, and therefore, as the first child of the family, I had to take care of a few things that needed the engineering economics principles that eventually actually taught in our beloved university, Sampoerna University. And in this subject, Sir Filscha told me quite a lot of things, from present worth, future worth, annual worth, and these things actually help me in real-world progress, especially when I had to sit in front of two adults speaking about taxes, speaking about, you want to sell this land for a few million and whatnot. These economic principles actually help me on making a better decision making to be able to gain a few insights on future cases. And regarding the role play itself, it actually gives a little bit of a simulation, so to say, on how to actually make a better decision-making skill. In this project, I worked as the project manager, and I had to actually see the perspective of the other roles, such as the financial analyst, the operations manager, as well as the sustainability advocate. I had to learn and see. So this is not technically about picking sides or choosing teams. It's about making everyone has the same ground level or the same thinking and the same objective. And that's what I learned very much important in engineering economics. To make decision making easier, to have better decisions in the process, as well as bringing up a team together. And I believe Sir Filscha himself has already taught me a lot of things, personally and also in class. And I'm very much thankful for this subject to be in this university. So I believe everyone needs to learn a little bit of economics principle, and I'll leave you all to that. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Again, my class is not perfect, so I will be learning from time to time to make it perfect. Thank you. Great.